The following segment of the Sports Narrative Radio Show is brought to you by Xena Communications. Home or office, your technology problems are one click or call away from becoming a thing of the past. Ask today about a free consultation in the DFW area.
With the latest mock draft, my first mock draft of the season that just came out. It's on draftnarrative.com. Finally. I seen quite a few mock drafts thus far. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense to do it until free agency. And my mock draft looks a little different than most people's. I have number 1 overall to your Tennessee Titans, Mr. Feltman, Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback safety from Florida State. He is my number 1 overall player. He is a perfect fit for what Tennessee needs. Granted, a lot of people say, well, you don't take a safety number 1. You do when he's the best player in the draft. And he's the best player in the draft.
When's the last time a safety was taken number 1?
It's never happened.
Oh, really? Okay.
Now, in fact, even Deion Sanders wasn't the number 1 pick. So, I mean, as a corner. But here's the thing. You look at the rest of this draft. Like, a lot of people have Laramie Tunsil going there from Ole Miss, the offensive tackle. I get that. I think they could still go that way. But given what's happened on their team, they lost Cody Sensabaugh. They lost Michael Griffin in the secondary. He's a perfect fit. That's my guy. All right, Carson Wentz goes 2 to the Browns. Laramie Tunsil, the Chargers are ecstatic to get at 3. And your Dallas Cowboys take Joey Bosa at 4. I think that's a really good fit. And this is the thing for me. I think I watched his pro day at Ohio State. He's ready to go right now. He's going to be the exception to the pass rushers don't do very well their rookie year because he's ready right now. Now, his ceiling isn't very high, but his floor is. So he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah.
May not ever be a great player, but he's always going to be a pretty good player. Now, the question is, when people say, well, would you rather have a guy who could either be, Aaron Rodgers or Akili Smith, or do you want a guy, in Jared Goff, the California quarterback, or do you want a guy who's going to be either Anthony Spencer or, Greg Ellis?
Yeah, I'll take. I don't know. I mean, I'll take Greg Ellis on that defensive line, but you've got guys like that already. I mean, you've got guys. Well, you've got guys who are productive, sort of plug-away guys. They got to get someone in there who can make plays. Now, I've heard people think Bosa can come in and average, maybe 10 sacks a year.
Maybe. I would say 8.
And again, so.
But you know what?
Jeremy Mincy when he was really good.
Your leading sack person last year was DeMarcus Lawrence with
look
8 sacks.
And look how that defensive line performed.
But what happens is what you've got to do is have those guys all complimenting each other. The reason DeMarcus Lawrence had 8 sacks is because Greg Hardy's on the other side. I mean, let's be honest. I don't like Greg Hardy, but that's the truth.
Well, it's interesting because I think you were kind of in the opposite camp in the middle of the year. I'm not sure.
No. I'm saying the difference for me is what you signed Greg Hardy to be at a $13 million a year player is to be the guy who beats the double team and gets the sack anyway.
Okay. But
what was
double
happening
teams
is
allowed
he was getting close, and this is the argument we
Gotcha.
had. I said he was getting close, causing the pressure, allowing those sacks to come the other way.
Yeah.
So
No, that's true. If you can get them all working in concert, that's great. But again, you still got to have your Von Miller. You've still got to have that hammer,
and they don't. And I don't know what you do about it.
And the guy who led them in sacks last year had a back surgery. That the assistant GM or whatever you want to call Steven, the VP or whatever, came out and said, "Well, it was worse than we originally thought."
Yeah.
I keep harping on that, and I'm like, "All right, well, whatever." But it wasn't bad, Jeff. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so, but it's fine. All right. So,
hey, but the East sucked. So,
a couple other key picks there. I had Jared Goff going to San Francisco at 7. I have Ezekiel Elliott going to the Eagles at 8. The Giants taking Ronnie Stanley, the tackle from Notre Dame, which they are also thrilled about. I have the Dolphins having traded down, taking Kevin Dodd, the defensive end out of Clemson. I have Laquan Treadwell, the wide receiver, going to the Rams at 15. I have Reggie Ragland, the Alabama linebacker, going to the Bills at 19. Noah Spence, the very controversial guy who got kicked out of Ohio State in the Big Ten, with the Jets at 20, because they're apparently ready to take a chance on him. The division rival Washington Redskins taking Mackenzie Alexander. Josh Doxson, the TCU kid, going to Minnesota at 23. Corey Coleman, the Baylor wide receiver, going to the Bengals at 24. Jermaine Ifedi, the Texas A&M tackle who is rising up boards and starting to really cause some controversy, going to the Seahawks at 26. The Packers take Sheldon Rankins, who is basically the exact same clone as B.J. Raji, at 27. Shaq Lawson going to the Cardinals, although that may change now. They got Chandler Jones, although it doesn't have to. Jason Spriggs with the sixth offensive tackle going in the first round, going to the Carolina Panthers. And with the 31st pick, the Denver Broncos, I almost had them taking Dak Prescott because we talked about this before, except Dak Prescott got a DUI this weekend.
So what does that do to his stock?
I think it's going to hurt him some, and mostly because the thing that made him great was his personality, was his off the field, was his leadership. And now you have this.
But is this the first
Oh,
incident?
yeah, first thing ever.
It'll ding him a little bit, but I think you'll have some team out there that's like, listen,
Hey, you
we
know
like
what?
this guy.
If the Cowboys at the top of the second round would not shock me.
Yeah. Hey, kids make mistakes, man.
Exactly. And the Cowboys have obviously proven they would look over that. But I have the Broncos taking another kid who made a mistake, Robert Nkemdiche, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. And the reason is because the Broncos last year proved with Shane Ray they were willing to take chances on a guy who failed a drug test. So there you go. And it's Denver. Whatever, right? Smoke weed every day.
Find more by subscribing to this channel and visiting us at www.thesportsnarrative.com. Join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central for a live edition of the Sports Narrative radio show hosted by Xena Communications.